You know, these AI coding tools are absolutely incredible. But are they just too cheap? Is this entire booming industry actually built on a business model that's just waiting to pop? Okay, let's get into it. We're going to dive into this really critical issue that we are calling the Claude code problem.
This is the question, isn't it? It's echoing all through Silicon Valley and the tech world right now. Are we just seeing this massive, exciting growth that's built on a totally unsustainable foundation? By the end of this, you're going to understand why this is so much more complicated than a simple yes or no.
All right, here's how we're going to break it down. First up, we'll uncover the hidden costs of AI coding. Then, we'll look at the trap of those unlimited plans. After that, we'll really dissect the business model itself and see why it's so flawed. Then, we'll get to the good part, the search for solutions. And finally, we'll look to the future, to a world where AI might be treated less like software and more like a utility.
Okay, so let's get right to the heart of the matter. Where does this problem really start? Well, it all begins with a user experience that feels almost like magic.
This right here, from creator Riley Brown, just perfectly sums up the whole dilemma. Users are finding that the biggest, most powerful models like Claude 3 Opus are just insanely effective. I mean, they can build entire apps in a single shot, but that incredible power, it comes with a massive and often invisible cost to run. And this is what we're calling the Claude code problem. It's this giant gap between what a user pays, say a flat $20 a month, and the very real, very variable, and sometimes huge cost for a company to actually run those powerful models for them. Seriously, a single power user could end up costing a company thousands of dollars in a month. And look, this isn't just some theory. The information got their hands on some numbers from Replit, a huge player in this space. Their gross margin dropped from a healthy 36% in February all the way to negative 4% in April. That is not a small dip. That's a nosedive. It means for every dollar they made, they were actually spending more than a dollar just to keep the lights on. That is a massive, flashing red light for the entire industry. So how in the world did we get here? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle is a business model that has tripped up so many companies in the past, long before AI was even a thing: the unlimited plan. Investor Chris Pike makes this really important distinction. We all know about product market fit, right? It means people love your product, they keep coming back. But there's this other crucial piece: business model product fit. Can you actually make money from it sustainably? And AI coding tools, well, they've absolutely nailed the first part. But that second part is proving to be a massive, massive challenge. If this all feels a little familiar, it should. Just think back to MoviePass. Remember them? They charged one flat fee for unlimited movies. They had fixed money coming in, but their costs went up every single time someone went to the theater. We all know how that story ended. It's the exact same dangerous mix at play with these unlimited AI plans. And Chris Pike, he lays out this three-step death spiral for how this model just poisons a company from the inside. First, your most profitable customers, the people who don't use it that much, they leave because it's not worth it for them. Second, you're left with all the power users, the ones who cost you way more than they pay. And third, the really scary part, is that all this financial rot can be hidden for a while by new people signing up, which gives you this false sense of security while things are breaking underneath. And, this whole situation is even worse for these AI startups, because they are stuck in a particularly nasty spot. The problem is, these companies are just stuck in the middle. They don't control the two most important levers of their entire business. Their users are demanding the absolute best, top-of-the-line models, which, surprise, are also the most expensive to run. And at the same time, they have zero say in what those models cost. They just have to pay whatever giants like OpenAI and Anthropic decide to charge. They're totally squeezed. And make no mistake, users care about performance above everything else. A recent market update from Menlo Ventures showed that when developers are picking a model, it's all about performance. It's not even close. Yeah, they might complain about the price, but at the end of the day, they're going to use the tool that actually works the best. Now, you're probably thinking, but wait, aren't the costs of these models dropping like a rock? And you are right, they are. Token costs have come down at a frankly unbelievable speed. Here's the catch-22 though. Our appetite to use these tools is growing even faster. As the tools get better, we find more ways to use them, and we use them more intensely, which completely cancels out any of the savings from the cheaper prices. So it's a really tough spot to be in, but it's not hopeless. The industry is finally waking up and realizing the unlimited model is just broken. And now we're starting to see this really interesting wave of experiments as companies search for a way to actually make this work. So there are three main ideas being tested out. The most direct fix is just usage-based pricing, which is what Replit is trying. You just pay for what you use. Simple, right? But it can lead to some serious sticker shock for heavy users. Then there's the bring your own API key model, where the tool itself is free, but you pay the model provider directly. But the most radical shift we're seeing is this utility or membership model, which is being pioneered by a company called SoftGen. And that last model, that really points to a possible future that looks very, very different from the software industry we know today. A future where AI is maybe less of a product and more of a basic utility. This quote from Kirsten Shepard really gets to the core of it. Her whole argument is that these AI coding tools are becoming commodities, and fast. So when any tool can be copied in minutes, the old rules for how you win just don't apply anymore. So what does? Their bet is on something they're calling radical pro-usership. The whole idea is that in a world where everything is a commodity, the only real advantage you have, your new competitive moat, is customer loyalty that's built on just being completely, totally transparent. It means being relentlessly on the user's side, especially when it comes to how much things cost. And their strategy is basically the Costco model, but for AI. It's so simple, it's brilliant. Here's how it works. First, they got rid of the free plan that was bleeding them dry. Instead, you pay a small annual membership fee. In return for that fee, you get access to wholesale AI pricing. You're basically paying the raw cost of the API calls, plus a small, totally transparent 15% fee. It completely rethinks the whole relationship. So what does this all point to? Well, the fundamental problem is that AI is priced like some kind of luxury software right now. The prediction is that this has to change. It feels almost inevitable that the price structure is going to shift to look a whole lot more like a basic commodity or a utility. And that leaves us with this one last pretty provocative thought. We might be seeing the very first signs of AI not as a tool, but as a fundamental utility for society. In a world where intelligence itself becomes almost too cheap to meter, will access to it become as essential and as normal as just flipping on a light switch? I know it sounds like science fiction now, but it might just be the future that we're building right now, today.